Welcome everyone. I'm Colette,
I'm Candace,
and this
and
is
welcome back to Hey Cuz. So today we're going to talk about being a millennial in the professional world, kind of piggybacking off of our last video, because there's this commercial floating around that I love, and it's like this girl, she's real cute, her hair is like colored, and she's like, having colored hair doesn't make you unprofessional. And like, so that just sparked this thing in me because I'm like, it doesn't. Having colored hair doesn't make you unprofessional.
Mhm.
And I'm a type of person, just for kicks and giggles, I like to comb through policies and see what they say, because I do believe a lot of what do they call it, dress and appearance or something of that nature. Every company has a policy. I think a lot of the stuff in there is outdated. So, and it was so funny, after I told Colette I wanted to talk about this, our manager came around the department with the policy and made us sign it. I was like, what? Look at timing. Isn't
Wow.
that ironic?
Wow. Okay.
So I thought that was hilarious. So it's a timely discussion. So there's some things, usually it'll talk about hair, piercings,
Mhm.
body jewelry, makeup, nails. So we can discuss that today. What do you think about these policies, these restrictions? I think they're so restrictive, especially our generation and definitely the generation after us. We're very expressive through our appearance, the things we wear, the way we, make our hair. So what do you think?
Um, I think that there's some gray areas, like certain things it should be professional, there should be rules. And I say that because, of course, working in healthcare, cleanliness is an issue, right? You're walking around with long nails or acrylic fake nails, tips, all that, germs. That's like a breeding ground for germs. So same thing in the restaurant industry. So I think it depends on what kind of job, where you're working.
Mhm.
But in terms of like certain things just really doesn't matter. Like your hair color really isn't gonna offend anybody, it's just hair color. But there are some, like I said, if you're working in psychiatry, some things can trigger people for whatever God-given reason. It can. Certain colors can. Work with children with autism. Certain things can trigger them. So I get why there are rules. Should they be looked at every now and then periodically just to make sure that they're keeping up to date with like current trends, what's going on in the world today? Yes, I do. But I do think some rules should stay in place just for the sake of the fact that, okay, where you are working, it can be an issue how to do your job. I'm just thinking about, okay, if you're in a courtroom, serious murder trial or whatever the case may be, and I forgot the name of the person that does all the typing.
I think it's
Um,
a stenographer.
okay, yes, yes. And if homegirl has like, lime green hair, I'm not gonna lie. If I was a juror, I'll be completely distracted. So I think certain places, I think it does matter. Now, her having lime green hair, would that affect her ability to do her job? No, no, it wouldn't. But like I just said, I would be very distracted. I wouldn't hear anything. The person's either going to get off or go to jail, depending on how I feel that day, because I'm just going to be looking at her here. I'm being honest. I'm going to be staring the whole time.
But isn't it like you see it and you're like, oh my God, her hair's lime green, and then you get over it? You really gonna be looking at her hair the whole day?
Yes. I'm a very visual person. So if it's a color that is just stands out from everything else, I'm going to want to keep staring at it.
That's funny. Um, I agree. I mean, I can only speak of the context of healthcare because I work in healthcare. Yes, there are some rules that have functional reasons. There's research behind it. Even when you mentioned the psych thing, I'm like, anybody can have any trigger. But my thing is, was that really their reasoning for making the policy? And I highly doubt it was. That's just my opinion. But I just really doubt that that's what they were thinking when they said, "Oh, you can't have colored hair." So I've seen a lot of different policies in my years of working. Definitely, there's policies about piercing. Certain facilities have policies about tattoos. Some say they don't want to see them at all. I know in nursing school, we weren't allowed to have any visible tattoos. Some facilities still have that policy. Definitely the nails, there's no artificial nails, which I agree with because, of course, there's research behind that. It makes complete sense. My thing is when they try to restrict the color of the nails, because it's like, where's the research? what rationale could you possibly have for telling me I can't wear, like, even if I wore something to match this, that's baby blue, what rationale do you have? I have seen, especially with the nail policy. Well, I guess we'll start it. We'll go in order. So I guess head to toe. So hair.
Mhm.
I'm a fan of hair color. I don't dye my hair a lot, but I want to, So I just feel like it shouldn't matter. I know I have seen policies. It's real tricky. It's real tricky to restrict hair color. Because I've seen where they say, they try to say, oh, hair colors that are found in nature, but there's a lot of colors in nature, or they'll say colors that might naturally grow out of a person's head, but a lot of different colors can naturally grow out of a person's head. It gets tricky with the hair color, I feel.
Do you feel like there should be any rules to deny a certain hair color regardless of the workplace?
I feel like, certain colors can be distracting. I feel like if it's like a highlight, I feel like you should be able to get away with a highlight of bright color. But if we're talking your whole head, I feel like we should keep maybe the neons out of it, the brighter colors out of it. But other than that, I've seen people with blue, black, plums, and you can barely tell it's there. Mm-hmm. So I don't think every color is distracting, but of course I would definitely take out, the bright neons and stuff like that.
So in your workplace now, you said you've seen people with like the blue and plums and all that, with those colors at work?
Pardon?
You've seen people with those colors at work, like the blue, the plum?
I've seen like plum, like darker colors. I haven't seen anything really bright. The brightest color you usually see is like red. I don't think I've ever seen anybody with green color. I've seen like the navy, blue, black type. I've seen purple, like a dark purple. Yeah, I haven't seen anything too outrageous in my facility.
And are these people getting recommended at your job for doing their hair that color?
No, and also that's why I feel like the policies are irrelevant, because like 9 times out of 10, the manager doesn't notice. So I'm like, if you don't notice, that really means you don't care. So why is it written in the policy? I just feel like every now and then the policies need to be revised, and that's what's not being done. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying, because there is going to be that one anal manager who has Napoleon syndrome, who's gonna be like, well, the policy states in section 2 that. So that's why I feel like you need to write it down, because there's gonna be that. I feel like most managers don't care. Most directors don't care. They don't. They have more important things to think of. But there will be that one person. I always say in leadership, as I've worked in leadership, people do what they can. So because they can't really do their job, they're going to nitpick on the little stuff. That's my opinion. Those leaders who nitpick on a little thing is because they can't do the job that they're really supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be looking over the finances. He's supposed to be balancing. Yeah, I'm going to call it out. There are a lot of incompetent leaders. And that's how I can point out a competent leader. The person who nitpicks on nonsense. That means you're not qualified to do your job. I said it. It's okay. I said it.
We'll come back to that, but
we can always come back to that.
Oh yeah, I want to get back to that. But
That's
what is your policy say on hair color?
Hair color. I actually have collected a few policies here, and we can, like I said, go down the head to toe list, because there's some stuff that are just ridiculous. But as far as the hair, I was surprised. They did update. I have a few policies, but as far as mine, I did see that they did update. The last update was actually last March. So, because I do remember there was something about hair color. I know there was definitely specifics about nail color. So yeah, they did update this. So there's nothing about hair color that I saw. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I didn't see anything about hair color, which was interesting. So yeah, there's that.
So you do whatever
I was very impressed by, my company. I was very impressed by the updated policy that I was reading. I was like, oh, they took a lot of stuff out of here. I was like, okay. So it just says hair should be clean, neatly groomed, and of a moderate length. Long hair should be secured away from the face and neck as to not interfere with, care and your protective equipment. Facial hair should be neatly trimmed. And here's the thing with the hair though, because I feel like male employees get away more than we do. The female employees get nitpicked more, especially in healthcare. We're outnumbered. I honestly feel that way. We're outnumbered. There's way less males than there are females, and I think they're great for the males, so they just leave them alone. Because the hair, the beards, they can get excessive, and the policy does say it needs to be neatly trimmed. So there's that. So yeah, there isn't any specific rule about color anymore, which I was very shocked to find that. But I would love to see the person come in with like blue green hair and see what happens.
Go ahead, Candace.
I'm not gonna be me. I'm not volunteering, but I would love to see. But the problem is, and this is why I always tell people, read your policies, especially millennials and Gen Z who like to, buck the system. You need to know what you're bucking. A lot of people don't know what's in their policy. So they will have a manager who'll be like, oh, that haircut's inappropriate. But they don't know that their policy, they're Gucci. It doesn't have any rules. But that's what happens when people don't know the policies of where they were. It sounds, minuscule, but it's important because, like I said, there are those managers who will nitpick you. And it's important to know what's in there. They're going to be like, oh, that haircut's not inappropriate. But according to the policy, there's no rule. So take that up with HR. I remember before I locked my hair, I used to get Senegalese twists and braids or whatever. And I would like to, put burgundy in there and, the darker red, just a little bit, hints of it. And I've had people, and, they don't necessarily reprimand you, but they'll make little comments, little passive aggressive comments. But it's like, if you want to write me up, let's do it. Let's be official. Show me the rule. And people are like, well, you're an example. You work in leadership. My hair is neat and it's well groomed and it's clean. But why are you? Who says that having colored hair isn't unprofessional? So that's where it goes back to who made the rules. Who says? Who says having multiple piercing is unprofessional? Who says tattoos are unprofessional? Tattoos started with the baby boomer generation anyway in the military, so they started it. Who says it's unprofessional? These are the questions that, by whose standards, you know what I'm saying? These are the questions that I have. And also it's similar where we're finding the natural hair movement where we have to make lawsuits to wear our hair, how it grows out of our head. Like, who says that's unprofessional? That goes to a whole nother issue in and of itself. But it's like, who's making the rules and for what? I feel like if there's no rationale behind it, then it shouldn't be there.
So who gets to say it?
I mean, as an employee, you have every right to complain.
You have a right to complain, but who gets to set the rules?
Who gets to decide? There's committees and things that's their job to do so, to evaluate. I mean, you can present your case. A lot of people are afraid to, or they think they can't, but you absolutely can. And they absolutely have to answer your question. Why? Like before, so we did hair, so we can go to nails, I guess. I want to skip to nails because in healthcare, the nails is a huge issue. Because ladies, we love to get our nails done and things. Like when I was in college, I got my nails done all the time. I used to get my Frenches and all these things. And but as I got to nurse school, I stopped because it's a rule, and then graduating, going into my career, it's a rule about artificial nails. You can't have any type of gel, I don't know what it all, paint, the SNS, the tips, can't have any of it. And it says your nails have to be no longer than quarter inch past the tip, which I have no clue how long that is. I just keep my nails trimmed. As you can see, it's like I don't know how long that is. So I just I don't paint my nails. I don't do any of that unless I have an occasion. I don't really do any of that stuff. And that actually is under hygiene, which is interesting because it is a hygiene issue. And so it says your natural fingernails should be clean, conservative in color, and no longer than a quarter inch past the fingertip. So then what's conservative in color? Because before the policy I have seen, it said they specified colors, which I'm glad they changed it because I'm like, who says only those colors are professional? So the colors that I remember, it was like blush, pink, red, I think brown was in there. So I'm like,
brown.
yeah, I guess they're trying to go for nude colors, but red is like one of the most aggressive colors to me. So my argument would be, if I came in with like a pastel purple, how is red more appropriate than this pastel color? That would have been my argument.
Mm-hmm.
What's your rationale? What's your rationale by these specific colors? I would have questioned it.
That's interesting. I've never seen them nitpick the colors before. It's just either no color or
right. That's what I'm saying. But when you get specific, that leaves the door open to be questioned.
Yeah.
And in this instance, I'm sure there's no research to prove. It's just an old school mindset. Like, these are professional colors, and that says who? Says who? That would be my question. Says who? Because red to me is one of the most unprofessional colors on the planet. It's aggressive. It's loud.
Why can't you wear red and be professional?
You can, but I'm saying in the context of a policy, if you're gonna lump that in with colors that are professional,
that's old school mentality though.
That's real old school. Red is real. Red nails. I think of like the little secretary, Mr. Burns. You have a visitor. Like, that's what I think about. So yeah, I completely agree with the artificial nail rule. Thankfully, I see they removed the specific colors, but it says conservative in color. So what does that mean?
And who is this for? All the employees?
This is for all the employees.
Because then my other thing is as well, what about secretaries?
Right.
They're just typing. Why can't they have color or acrylic?
I don't know.
Their job.
Let me see. I think this is for all the. I think this is a system wide. So yeah.
So then that's an issue too.
I don't know. Also, because in hospitals sometimes people have multiple jobs, so they do switch. Like some do patient care, some do secretary. So maybe that's why. But people who are just in administration, I feel like they could probably make. They wear gel, so maybe they can make an argument that they're not directly involved with patient care.
Right.
Because I've seen a lot of women who have artificial nails in administration, so maybe they don't apply.
But it doesn't state it.
Huh?
But it doesn't state it, so.
I mean.
Down.
Well, actually, it does specify. It says it cannot be worn by employees providing patient care or processing, managing patient care equipment, medication, or food. So yeah, it does specify. So they if you're just in administration, then you're good. So yeah, I just was conservative. Who knows? But also, it's manager discretion. Like I said, most managers, directors, they don't care. They just want you to do your job. If you do your job well, they really could care less. But like I said, there will be that one who's going to try it. That's why I feel like the policies need to be evaluated. And luckily, this one has been. So it's 09, and then 11, then 19, then last year. So they are looking at it.
Well, at least they're doing that.
Yeah, I'm impressed. So I'm impressed with some of the policies that I've seen, that they are being updated kind of regularly.
Yeah.
And so this is definitely an improvement from what I have seen when I first started working. So let's go into piercings. What do you think about piercings?
Once again, I think it depends on the job. I can see how that can be an issue. If in healthcare, you have all these chains hanging around your neck, you get that caught on the patient or equipment. But then you have the ears. And you have, I call it the bull. I don't even know what it's called. It's a piercing between the nose. You have the eye piercings and all that.
But what about business? What about working in Walmart? You're a cashier.
Oh, I've seen all types.
Should it matter?
No, it's not affecting their ability to do their job. I think.
But I'm sure there's policy. I mean, I've never seen anybody in business with piercings all over their place. And here's the thing about most businesses, like major corporations, the majority of the employees in the building do not see their customer. That's the interesting thing about working in a business, marketing, advertising, finance, all these things. Majority of those people do not see their customer, right? So I wonder, it's like, why does it matter what they look like? You sit in a cubicle all day. Why can't you be comfortable within reason? Why do you have to wear slacks and a sport coat and a dress suit or whatever, heels? Why? Why?
Employer says so, I don't know.
And that's a policy. If I worked in business, I think that should be reevaluated. Because why? Our general attire has vastly changed from the 1800s to the 1900s to the 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s to now. Vastly changed. A lot of people weren't wearing t-shirts and jeans around. Things have changed. So why is it, I guess, so slow to change the professional world? I think people are just kind of scared to speak up, because I feel like this is the only sector that's taking so long to catch up.
Either they're afraid or they're just so used to the pattern.
You're so used to, yeah, maybe.
You know, it's like everyone's doing it. No one's really questioning it. It's like a habit.
Yeah. I mean, but I feel like if you really feel uncomfortable, or
if you feel uncomfortable, absolutely you can bring it up with
you should bring it up. You shouldn't be afraid to bring it up. There's most companies, for the millennials and Gen Zers out there, most companies do have a zero tolerance retaliation clause in their policies as well. So like I said, you have the right to complain.
You can, but don't sit up here and act like these people won't be feisty for a reason.
They gotta respond. As long as you're respectful about it, what's the problem?
I'm just saying, don't ignore the fact that they can dismiss you just because they're annoyed. Now they can't put that on paper, but they can find something to use.
They can dismiss
it. It's not.
But if you have the time and you just bored one day, there's always somebody. Everybody has a boss, and there are exterior committees whose job it is to be completely objective. Like, there are processes to go about it. Your boss may want to dismiss you, but they have a boss, and they have a boss, and they have a boss, and they have a boss. So if this is something that you're really passionate about, you can get it done.
Yes. You work for some mom and pop place. That's it. That's
well, if it's a mom and pop place, then I feel like you got to pick your battles in general anyway.
You should pick your battles. That's all I'm saying.
Because if you had a mom and pop, I mean, go find a better job. Go work at Walmart. That's on you. I mean, if you like your mom and pop job, and then mom and pop don't like the fact that your hair is green, then you got to pick a battle.
It really is.
Maybe mom and pop is paying you way more than Walmart ever would. So I would just wear a hat. I don't know.
Really
take the piercings out. Really, so the policies that I've seen on piercings, and it's under other. So, and it's just like the wording of the policies is just so vague. You know, it's like, it's not quantifiable. You got to quantify these things. It says excessive and dangling jewelry is not suitable. What's excessive? You know, body piercing guidelines are as followed. No tongue, nose, or facial piercings. Before, it used to allow the clear nose. But I'm sure, like I said, that's manager discretion. You could argue that, like, you're not going to just let your holes close. If you're a circus performer on the weekend and that's part of your gig, I mean, I don't know. You never know. You don't know what people are into. You know what I'm saying? You never know. So it's like, put a clear thing in there, keep it moving. Some people have it for religious reasons. They can't make them take that out. So yeah, they should. I feel like that clear thing used to be in there. I don't remember. I think it did. So that's something that would need to be revisited, because somebody could argue, hey, this is for religious reasons. I'll put a clear thing in there when I'm at work, but I can't allow that to close. That would be something that would have to go up the chain of command. And then it says only 2 earrings permitted per ear. And I love this one.
It said no excessive, but then it gave a number?
No, it doesn't give a number. That's what I'm saying. You got to quantify stuff. Because my excessive to your excessive, you know, that could be very different.
It was 2, no more than.
So initially it says excessive and dangling jewelry is not suitable. That's the first part. So my question is, what's excessive? Mm-hmm. And then it says no tongue, nose, or facial piercings.
Okay.
And then it says only 2 earrings per ear. And that's the only quantifiable part of that piece, which I love, because I know in my heart of hearts, they probably meant 1, 2. But I just, for fun, I'm gonna do 1, 2.
I don't think they
Just to see if somebody's gonna say something. Because it doesn't specify. It could have said 2 per lobe, but it didn't. It just says 2 per ear. This is your whole ear. So that can mean, I mean, there's so many, I don't know all the names of them, but there's so many places you can get a piercing. And then my dream has always been to do that little rod thing. I don't know what it's called, that rod that goes through your ear. That is 1. That is 2. It's still, I'm still obeying the rules. Right?
Yes. It's not okay.
They said 2 per ear. That is 1. This is one pierce. That's 1 piece of jewelry right there.
The rod is just 1 piercing?
It's 1 piece of jewelry. It's 1 earring. It says 2 earrings per ear, not 2 piercings. 2 earrings. That is 1 earring. And this will be another one. I love a loophole. I love a good loophole. Huh?
I said, yeah, go ahead and follow Candace. She gonna lead y'all right to the other.
No, look. That's the policy says. It doesn't say 2 piercings. It says 2 earrings per ear. That rod is 1 earring. They didn't specify where it had to be. So you can have the tragus. That's the one that people do for migraines or whatever. Like there's so many different places you can pierce your ear. I know that, but it gets tricky when you, like I said, it gets tricky when you specify things. But who cares? Is it, I mean, I have encountered nurses, even in like, especially the more radical nurses that I've encountered worked in the children's hospital. And it didn't bother me. I liked it. I thought it was cool. It's something to look at. I didn't care. I saw a nurse, her hair was like shaved and she had a piercing, all of these.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll go to the tattoos next. I was shocked by this one because 9 times out of 10, when you see a policy, it does say no visible tattoos. So they did update this and I was very shocked. It says tattoos that are lewd or inappropriate are not permitted. And if present, should be covered. Face, neck, hand tattoos are not permitted and should also be covered. So basically you can have full sleeves. I was very shocked by that.
Face, neck, and hand.
Face, neck, hands.
Face, neck, hand.
I think that's reasonable. I mean, I know people have, those behind the ear tattoos. I wonder if that counts because it's not technically on your face or your neck.
It's not, but unless you're bald, who's really saying that? So unless you're bald, who's really saying that?
I mean, it technically is not. That's not your face or your neck. So I wonder, but I was very impressed with that because I do recall when I was working in New York City, there was a charge nurse and he had full sleeves and he never covered them up. It was a dead of winter. He wore his scrubs and a vest. And I thought that was cool. Because that does not impede you from doing your job. And there's old school people who won't like it, but who cares? Am I going to save your life or not? Am I going to get your finances together or not? Are you going to get your groceries or not? Are your technology going to work or not? It's going to work. I mean, tattoos will not prevent anybody from doing their job. Mm-hmm. I think it's just a thing where society just needs to y'all can get over yourselves. You conservative proof people, get over yourselves. Like, who cares? I don't care. I don't. Even if they do have a skull and bones, I don't care. Are you gonna fix my car or no? Is my computer gonna work when I come out the Geek Squad store or not?
The issue with it is based on where you are. If it is more of a conservative town, the majority of those people will complain. If it's leading to loss of revenue, that employer is gonna, all right, make some type of rule because at the end of the day,
Eventually,
if it suffers,
society's gonna have to catch up.
because of it.
I just think that's the bottom line. Society's gonna have to catch up at some point because people our age and younger, 9 times out of 10, they're tatted and they have piercings and their hair is colored. And we are coming into the workforce. Society's just gonna have to catch up at some point. It just is what it is.
Those bigger cities have. I'm talking about those little towns in the middle of nowhere. They're not catching up because they don't have to. There's no, they don't have to.
You said what?
I said the bigger cities, they have caught on. I mean, that's
they're catching up. They're catching up. Even like I said, I was impressed when I read this because it wasn't like this last year or the year before. That's what I'm saying. They're catching up.
Mm.
But the thing is people in the smaller cities are probably, that's how they are anyway, because that's what they're used to. So there's not anything to be challenged.
That's what I'm saying. Like not everything is
unless I decide that I'm gonna pick up a contract in their city, then they would just get sued for discrimination. Like I said, they act like they don't have to answer to you. They do. And whether they do it in a civil way or we have to bring a lawyer into it, they do have to answer. Whether they answer with words or with money, they got to answer. They have to answer. Even if I did work in a mom and pop or whatever, and I'm working a contract, I'm just living out here temporarily, and they want to pick a problem with me, they have to answer to me. They will. They can do it the easy way, they can do it the hard way, but they do have to answer. It's just whether or not you're that passionate about it. But my problem is with the companies that like to make you believe that they do not have to answer to you. And that's what I'm telling my millennials and my Gen Zers. They do. They absolutely do. They do. Don't like this is not indentured servitude or slavery where they just make you do stuff. No, it's a give and take. I'm providing you a service, you're providing me a paycheck. It's a symbiotic relationship. You do have to answer to me. Just as I have to answer to you. I do have to sign the policy. Like I said, they come around I don't know how often they come around and they make you sign the policies. You sign the book at the beginning of your employment, but they come back next year and they make you sign the policy. So yeah, I'm saying I agree to this, but if there's something I don't agree with, I don't have to sign it. We can have a discussion. Before I put my signature on this, we're going to talk about this. If there was something that had specific hair colors or whatever, no, my hair is currently red. I'm one of your best employees. I'm not signing this. Let's discuss it. Why is that part of your policy? I have every right to do that. And they do have to explain
There's nothing wrong with asking questions, especially if you haven't signed the policy, to say, okay, you know what? I don't understand this. If you have signed the policy though, that's on you. You agree with the policy.
Right? Don't blindly sign stuff. That's part of adulthood anyway. You can't just sign everything. Like when she came around with the policy, I thought it was so funny because I told her, I was just talking about this with my cousin. We read through that. Me and my coworkers read through that thing just to make sure. But even my manager, she was like, you know what? I don't care. You know, if it's within reason, or I understand that y'all have events, you're in a wedding or whatever, you had to do it for the weekend. I'm not gonna make you waste your money. I get it. But eventually that nail polish is gonna have to fall off. No, those nails gonna have to fall. I get it. So like I said, most people don't care. But it does need to be writing for that one manager who got too much time on their hands. So I think, did we get it? We got hair, we got nails, we got tats, got piercings. Those are the big ones usually. I mean, we wear uniforms, so there's not much wiggle room there. But coming back to like the corporate, and even the tech sector is the most casual across the board, I would say. So they're doing it right. Their employees get to come in as long as they're dressed, nothing lewd or inappropriate on their clothes. They get to wear whatever they want. My brother gets to wear jeans and sneakers to work, and it fitted and whatever, all the time. So, but I don't see the problem. Mm-hmm. And like I said, most businesses those people are not seeing their customers. So what does it matter what they wear to work? As long as it's not sweats or pajamas, it's not inappropriate, it shouldn't matter. They should be able to be comfortable. Not in a stuffy suit. What are you in a stuffy suit for? You're not even, nobody's seeing you. You're in a cubicle. You're one of a million people in the building. Nobody cares.
Even if they are seeing their customers, though, I think some things need to change. I'm gonna throw out a perfect example because I have challenges before with past jobs and one. I've said this before. I'm a physical therapist. Okay, preaching about exercise, movement, proper mechanics with the way you move. This business casual module where you have to wear the shoes and not sneakers. Why?
I think that's stupid. That's
Why?
completely stupid. And I would have argued with them. I would have went to somebody's office and presented this, like, this is dumb. Even when I was in leadership, walking around a hospital,
and not good.
It's a lot of square footage.
Yes.
Like, I'm not gonna half of the time. It's so funny. I was one of the last people hired. There were two, three in the daytime, 2, 3 in the nighttime. I was one of the last people hired. Of course, I was the youngest. I'm one of the youngest employees everywhere I go, pretty much. I started wearing my scrubs because sometimes we do get in there. We do have to interact with patients. We do get in there. So it's like, well, I'm not gonna wear these business clothes all the time for what? And then I'm not wearing heels. I'm not clunking around this hard tile. No, I'm not doing that.
Right.
And that is funny because a lot of the other ones, they start to wear their scrubs too. Why am I going to be, I'm sitting here for 12 hours, walking around this hospital, why am I going to be uncomfortable for? That's dumb.
Yep.
And sometimes it does take that one person to change the trend.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't disrespectful about it. There wasn't a rule about it either. Mm-hmm. It's just that, like you said, people go along with the status quo until that one person comes along who says, this makes no sense. There's no rule against it. I'm going to be comfortable.
You should be comfortable, dude. Presentable.
I'm always presentable.
Presentable.
Even I joke around all the time. I say we wear glorified pajamas. I mean, I love it. We're comfortable. Scrubs are comfortable. You know, they're fancy pajamas, but they should still be presentable. They should be clean and ironed, or get them out the dryer quick. Whatever if you don't like to iron, do what you got to do. But I think it's because we went to private school, and that's where it was definitely impacted on me to be presentable at all times. So I became obsessed with ironing. I used to love ironing. I think I'm the only kid. I loved ironing. I loved, like, you see a wrinkled shirt and you just get all the wrinkles out.
They gave you a high?
I loved it. And then you put the clothes on. You know, they said the clothes don't make the man makes the clothes, but still, when you have on crisp clothes, you just stand a little different, you know? I just loved it. I don't know. I think I'm the only kid who was pro uniform. Everybody hated it. Huh?
So that you were.
Look, but here's the thing. I think but most geniuses, not that I'm saying I'm a genius, most geniuses, they wear the same thing every day because it's less things to think about. My brain, it does too much. So that just is one less thing I need to think about. I love it. I don't have to think about what I'm wearing to school. Is it cool? I think all schools, because it kind of eliminates most of the reasons for bullying as well, because you all in the same clothes.
Especially if you can't afford, the newest.
Exactly. So it levels the playing field. So I'm really pro uniform. I always have been. I probably always will be. Even in my job, I wear a uniform. It's one less thing to think about. Because even when I was in leadership, I did. So, sometimes I did wear business clothes, but it just occupies, like, what am I going to wear? Is this clean? Is this iron? Is this matched? But it's a 2-piece set every day. I just rotate through them in my closet. 2-piece set, navy blue. Keep it moving. I love it. Or even when I worked in California, they didn't specify which color, but I still just, like, it's a 2-piece set. And you just rotate them. Like this goes in this goes in the drum, this goes in the laundry, and then you line them up the same way. It's like Doug Funny. His whole closet was the same. Like you just keep going through it. You rotate it.
I don't know.
It's just easy.
I like expressing myself through my clothes. I
but
like
you know where I express myself?
through your one poetry, probably through your hair color, your jewelry.
No,
the avenues. It depends what's expressive to that.
What's allowed? No, but this is what I express myself through my sneakers. That's my loophole. Right. That's my loophole. That's my sacred loophole. And I've been plotting on that since I was in nursing school, because we did have to wear all white sneakers and all white shoes or sneakers in nursing school. So I was like, I can't wait till I get a job because I'm going to be sneaker nurse. I know it sounds so stupid, but I have been plotting on that since day one. That's going to be my way that I express myself. And my coworkers laugh at me to this day. I always show up and they're like, how many sneakers do you have? Like, don't worry about it. It's just fun. Like, cause I'm in this it's monotonous, even though I like it. It is monotonous. I get to, a little razzle dazzle on it. I love it. You have to take the little liberties that you do get, or, your watch band, whatever. It's those little victories that feel nice. And also my hair, I get a little jazzy sometimes with the hair. But even still, I just
to work. But for us, we can either use scrubs or business casual, either or. It doesn't matter whether you're patient care or not. So I wear scrubs because one's easier. But two, every now and then when I'm like, you know what, I feel like dressing up today, I like the fact that I can do that too. They're not just expecting me to come in scrubs. And our colors are a little limited just because of just the company colors and stuff like that. But I don't really care, because then the days that I want a little splash, business casual, go to work.
I mean, but you like to, I don't want the option, honestly.
See, I do. That's just important for me. I gotta
you know what? Honestly, I thought I was going to work at Children's Hospital when I graduated, and they have a lot more wiggle room. I did intern there, so you get to wear like superhero or characters and colorful. So that's cool too. And even with that, I probably still would have them lined up and just because that's easy for me. I need that. I need a little regiment, a little bit. As wild as I am, there are areas of my life that I need the structure. You can't just be too wild. I'm wild enough. So I do need some structure. So honestly, I don't mind it, even though we don't get options for color, because most hospitals, each
department,
profession, each job position has a different color associated with. So patients coming in, they know, oh, gray, that's PT, blue, that's respiratory, navy, that's nursing. So that just makes it easy for people to kind of know who they're interacting with. And I don't mind it. I don't mind that I have to wear all, the same color all the time. Honestly, I don't care. It does make my life easy. But they come in different like patterns, and there's nice scrubs out there these days. It's not just box. Back in the day, they were pretty boxy. Mm-hmm. But shout out to the new brands coming out. There's some nice scrubs out there. So if you want to be a little fancy and cute, you can. As long as you can still function, because I've had this conversation with some nurses and they get a little offended. I'm like, nurses who come to work in certain brand of scrubs, they ain't come to do no work. So I'm like, what you really about to do with those scrubs? Especially as an ER nurse, working in the ER, I used to side eye a lot of people. I'm like, what you really about to do? You need, people laugh at me because I love my pockets. Like, I am not buying scrubs if there's no pockets. Like, I need at least 2 in the shirt. Even one of these top ones might be nice. Like my pants, I need the 2 side pockets. I need the 2 on the thigh, at least if they got zips. Like, I want it all. I want the utilitarian, like the G.I. Joe scrubs. That's what I want. I want as many pockets as possible, because there's a lot of things I need to shove in them. And you always looking for a pen. I put a pen in each pocket. So I always, no matter what hand I put my pocket in, I got a pen. I love pockets. I love my scrubs.
They are important. I'm not even gonna lie about that.
They are important. So I don't understand when I see these nurses and they got no pockets on their pants. I'm just like, where is your pen at?
Yeah, Yeah. Okay.
Where are you gonna find your pen? God forbid. Because we all know that's the most important. You need a pen. Like nurses are really, if you take a nurse pen, it's like that. What's that line? They're like, I will look for you and I will find. Like it's like it's serious. So yeah, I'm always thinking about a pen and where I'm gonna put it.
Okay.
It's important. It's important. It's important. I have a lot of pens. So yeah, like it's about dressing, even within healthcare, like it's about dressing appropriately for the job that you have to do. Mm-hmm. If your scrubs are too tight,
you can't move.
What you about to do? When we got an emergency, it gets gritty up in there. So I'm like, you need a little wiggle room. You need to breathe a little bit. Like even I do like some of the tapered, I like some of the joggers, they're cute. But even those, like my clothes just can't be too tight. You gotta, especially in certain, you work in an ER, behavioral health, ICU, you gotta, some peds, you getting down in there. You gotta be able to move. So I do agree with some of these rules. I think there was a rule about clothes not being too tight fitting. It says they should fit properly. I love the words. Like you can tell the person typing this is just so nervous because they can't say certain stuff. But it does say that it can't be too tight. It does. And I agree. And especially, certain, some of us, we're, more blessed than others. You have to be cognizant of that. Yeah. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real.
You look curvy.
You have to be cognizant of that.
Nice size in the back and in the front. You got to make sure.
Especially like I said, you got to do that 360. In nursing, a lot of places, the standard color that you can wear any facility is white, which I refuse. After I graduated nursing school, I said I will not wear another white scrub ever in my life. So, as a woman wearing a white pants or white top, you got to be, careful. Got to be more careful.
Not be me. Yeah, that's crazy.
You got to do that 360. I don't know why who chose white.
Oh, that has to be a guy because there's no female. That's
who?
Oh, white.
Who chose white? Like, why? Why would you do that? It's a messy job. I never understood
just walking around, just anything on you, blood, feces.
And could you imagine back in the day, they wore like dresses and skirts, bruh, and stockings. Those policies, like nursing, like back in the day, they had rules. Like I could not imagine. I would never become a nurse if I lived back in those days. You had to live on premises. You had curfew. You couldn't date. You couldn't go to the movies. You had to wear a dress and stockings and heels to work. Are you kidding me? It's like one of the most messy professions. And you got to wear all white, a dress, and stockings. Now, that's one thing I hated from private school, stockings. I boycotted stockings after I graduated from private school.
Uniform was okay, but you hated the stockings.
I love uniform. I love the concept of uniform. Okay. I love the crispness and cleanliness, how it looks of uniform. It gives you a sense of pride. I love that. It associates you with something. It gives you pride in where, people can recognize, oh, you go to such and such school, or you do such and such. I know what your profession is based on what you look like. It does give us a sense of pride in what we do. But yeah, those stockings ain't it for me, sis. I don't know what it is. I always hated stockings. I still hate even leggings to this day. Ask me if I own.
What's your beef with leggings?
Hate leggings. I hate stockings. I hate all of it. All of it. I don't think I have any pair. And I remember when the stocking fad came back, where they had the lace and the patterns and things was coming back. And I was like, let me try this one. No. I don't think I have a pair of stockings at all. I hate them. Even in the wintertime when I used to wear dress, I hate them. I hate
that. Right there is why I hated uniform. One of the major reasons. That was one of the major reasons I hated uniform. Wintertime. In this stupid skirt.
I just hate those stockings, man.
Snowing, you got to put on stockings and a dress and dress shoes. Meanwhile, the guys in the khaki pants, nice and warm and toasty.
Come on.
Come on now.
It is the sexist part of it. Sorry about that, guys. It is the sexist part of it. The uniform was sexist.
It was very.
Absolutely. I'll give you that. And that brings me to this policy, which was interesting to me. So men may wear business casual pants. This is for non-uniform employees. Men must wear business casual pants, khakis, trousers, whatever. Shirts must have collars. Outer garments must be professional, appropriate length. Dress pants must be to the ankle or just above the ankle. Professional and conservative in appearance. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go work our way backwards to this contradictory statement here. So it does say dress pants must be to the ankle or just above the ankle. Right?
Yeah.
Right. Men may wear business casual pants, khakis, trousers. That's it. End of statement. They can wear pants, right? Mm-hmm. Women may wear business casual pants, such as khakis and other appropriate slacks. Slacks are required to cover the ankle. What's with this ankle obsession?
So the guys can be slightly above the ankle, but the females it has to be below the ankle.
Well, the first one was, it didn't say men or women. It just says dress pants must be to the ankle or just above the ankle. But then you contradict yourself 2 lines above and said women's pants must cover the ankle. But why? What is the difference between my ankle and a men's ankle? I would actually prefer to see a woman's ankle than a man's ankle.
Right. What I was trying to think of, what is a guy?
Why? So this is definitely a policy that I would go and be like, explain it. Why?
So females can't wear dressy capris, non-finishing. Females can't wear dressy.
Okay, so the exception for capri pants or, shorter pants is during the summer months, May through September, even though it's hot. Right, it's hot down here, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll give it to them summer months, May to September. Capri pants are permitted. Cool. But what? Why? Why do you care if I show a little ankle? That sounds so old school. That sounds so 1900s. Like, ooh, let's go to the show and see a little ankle. Like, come on.
Some guy got some type of.
But some of these policies just seem so pervy.
They are. Like,
why do you care if my ankles are showing? And then you could tell who wrote this is oblivious to women's fashion, because 9 times out of 10, you find a woman's slack, they're tapered at the leg and they're above the ankle.
Right.
Outdated. That's what I'm saying. These are outdated policies. And they need to change with the times, because where am I even going to find a pair of pants that we wear in wide leg pants every day? Is that it? Because those are really the only ones that go below the ankle. And I do love a good wide leg trouser, but not all the time.
And when you
it's dumb. It's dumb.
It's gonna rise up.
This is what I'm saying. Like, these policies are so stupid. They're so stupid.
What does it say for shoes for females?
Shoes,
this is heels.
I think it says, I think they're supposed to be closed up. Let me see. Footwear. Shoes are required to be good, or shoes are required and must be in good repair. That's funny. In hospital care areas, blah, 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 they're supposed to be closed-toe shoes. Footwear exception. So during the summer months, sandals may be worn with department head approval. Dress sandals must have a band over the top of the foot and at least a 1-inch heel. So basically they don't want you to wear flip-flops, which is fair. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a rule about closed-toe shoes. I mean, it doesn't say they need to be closed-toe specifically, but I think they should. It's a hospital. It's gross anyway. Just me personally, I wouldn't want my toes out in the hospital, but that's just me.
If you're not in patient care, then it doesn't matter.
Still gross. Every now and then, leadership, they round. I'm not rounding a hospital in open toe heels. I mean, unless you're just one of those women that bring a pair of change of shoes. I do that. I've done that before. Bring a change of shoes. I'm not walking around a hospital in open toe shoes. But this open toe shoe thing brings me to another thing, because it's not only workplace that have policies, but back in the day, I did pick a bone with certain certain pastors. When you go to church,
Yes.
let's do it.
Oh, let's do it. Mm-hmm.
You know I got time. Let's do it. When you serve at church, they too have a book of policies. And serving, I have been in every ministry known to man in a church. I mean, from usher, children's church, band, praise and worship, choir, I've done it all. So I've seen policies where they say that women are not allowed to wear open toe shoes. And you do know what I did.
You were
tell people what I did.
I don't know what you did. Where was this?
Just tell the people what you think I did.
You wore open toe shoes. I know you did.
Yes, but
and probably painted your toes some bright color to draw attention to.
I sat down with the pastor.
Okay. And
I told him to make it make sense. Explain this to me. I'm not, look, you just not gonna make me, I'm just not gonna do anything because you told me to do it. That's like when your parents say do it because I said so. Like, that's not enough. That's not enough.
What was the response?
And you know what pissed me off even more is the response. There are certain people who, you know, basically pervy. I'm like, so because a man might have a foot fetish, I can't wear open toe shoes in church. And that goes back to patriarchy, protecting the predators. Oh, are we gonna do this today? Are we doing this today?
As well.
Why do we as a society make a habit of protecting predators? You're telling me that I have to dumb myself, make myself small. But these are his words, not mine. Your reason for why I can't wear open toe shoes is because it might make somebody uncomfortable because they might have some urges of blah, blah, blah. Those are your words, not mine. So you're telling me by saying that you're protecting a predator. No? Am I reaching?
I won't call him a predator.
Not necessarily, but you're protecting inappropriate behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it all lines up. I mean, I could be reaching, but it's in the line. It is in the line. And we know what happens in church. Let's be real. It's not a far reach either, unfortunately. Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong. Please do.
I go to church that doesn't happen for me, so, but I know churches that I've gone to church.
You know what I mean, but just tell me if I'm reaching. I'm okay. I will back off. Just tell me if I'm reaching.
No, I mean, you can't. I've always been against places that want to put labels on what people wear, especially in church, because now don't get me wrong, I think there should be a level of appropriateness.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. I've seen the other end too. People
absolutely. It looked like people came by the club.
Right.
But it does say come as you are. That's another story. Because we don't know what their story is. Maybe that's their first time in church. And you're gonna judge them and they're never gonna come back. So that's another situation. But if you are a church goer, it's different. I get it.
That way, but that's okay.
If you are a church goer, this is your life. This is the walk that you're walking.
I refuse to believe that people want to act like they don't know what's appropriate to what's not.
Wait, I'm not gonna judge. If this is your first time in church and that's all you had to wear, I can't judge you. It says judge not lest you be judged. That's not our job. It's not. Because honestly, you never know what that person's going through. This is why I hate church, because they love to judge people and it runs people away. You've never seen that person before. If this is a person you've never seen before, it's not your job to judge them. It's your job to love them, period. So that's another thing.
Love, but you can still, talk to them and stuff.
Eventually. That's not what you do in the moment. I'm not
saying to just sit there and go, okay, every Sunday she comes in and she can stress.
Not every Sunday, but I'm saying if it's the first time you're seeing that person.
Okay, first time, yes.
It is not your job to judge them. It's your job to love them, because when you judge them, they know they will never come back. So that defeats the purpose of what church is about anyway. That's another story. as a church, as a consistent church goer, yes, it is important to have a level of appropriateness in what you wear to church. Absolutely. But tell me what closed toe or open toe shoes has to do with that. Nothing.
Like I said, I don't have no problem with church I go to. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, yes, a lot of churches are becoming more conservative, especially in the South for some reason. Churches are real. It's the Bible Belt. You would think they would be more dressed up, but it's the opposite. Because churches in the North are way more dressed up than they are down here.
That was different.
Which is odd. So yeah, but no, this was a real rule. And I had to sit down and find out why, because I was going to wear my shoes. It's hot down here. And I wanted you to explain it to me. Because on Wednesday night, it's, you know, a little more casual. The boys will come in flip-flops. That's open toe. So what's the difference? These are your words, not mine. I just want you to explain it. If it's a rule, if it's about professionalism and make it across the board. You can't target women's shoes and not men's shoes. You said no open toe shoes. Flip-flops and sandals, those are open. Them slides, they're open toe. So if you're gonna sit me down, you're gonna have to sit down the rest of your band too.
What did he say?
Well, I think eventually they did lift it, not at the moment when we had the conversation, but I mean, I still wore my shoes anyway. Because you did not give me a good enough reason. And the fact that it was also sexist. If you can't explain something to me, I'm not gonna do it. I feel like if it's not causing harm to myself or anybody else, I don't care what you do. I tell people all the time, if people think I'm conservative and I'm real judgy, and I'm really not. I really could care less. And like I said, my rule for life these past few years is if it's not causing harm to myself or anybody else, not causing harm to you or anybody else, what do I care? What do I care? No one's getting hurt. No, what do I care? If you can't explain to me how these little pieces of my toes coming out my peep toe shoes are offensive, if you can't give me a real reason, and also if you're not going to implement it across the board, I'm definitely not going to follow that rule. That's why I'm just saying it's important to check the rules so you know what you're up against. Because I just feel like you just not about to pick a fight with me for no reason. Because I'll pick one back. And I'm good at it.
Oh, you picked it. You went there.
Like I said, if you gonna pick a fight with me, I'm gonna pick it back. And I'm real good at it. Because to this day, I didn't get a good enough answer. But I just changed it. Eventually, I think they did change. Well, I don't know if they changed it, but they just stopped. You know, they let up a little bit after a while. But that was years later. At that point, people were real nitpicky about the rules. But church is messy anyway. That's we're not even gonna open that box. But I just thought it was funny. Huh?
I said we should, maybe next time.
Another day. That's really for another day. I just talking about that open toe thing just made me remember that, and it was kind of funny. But moral of the story is having colored hair doesn't make you unprofessional. Y'all need to find that commercial because it's lit. I like that 3-part harmony.
Sally's Beauty commercial.
It's Sally's Beauty. I love that commercial. It's like my favorite commercial right now. But having colored hair doesn't make you unprofessional. I don't think having tattoos or piercings makes you unprofessional. Of course, there's a level of appropriateness and attention to hygiene, depending on what you do for a living, that you do need to pay attention to. Fair. But at the same time, review your policies. If you are an employer, a company, HR, revise your policies if appropriate. And if you're an employee, don't be afraid to question your policies because you have every right to. I just think times are a-changing and they're going to keep changing. So we'll see what happens. I'm just really fascinated to see what happens. I really am, honestly. I'm not just saying to pick a fight for no reason. If it's something you really care about, then sure. I mean, because I'm like, you don't know what people do on the weekend. You're at home or in your social circle more than you hopefully work-life balance, but ideally you're at home and in your social circle more than you are at work. So, I mean, there are rules that are very restrictive as to where it would interfere with your private life. And I do feel like those need to be evaluated. Because if you got tattoos as a teenager and now you decide you wanted to become a nurse, you can't just, it's real expensive to take those things off. We just hope that they're not, aggressive or inappropriate, but I feel like it shouldn't matter.
What should be thought of before you get them?
Young, dumb, broke high school kids. It happens.
I don't like to hear it, but there is.
Absolutely. That's why I don't have any, because I keep going back and forth and I'm like, what do I want to say that much that I need on my body permanently? What if it gets missed? So I don't have any currently. I'm not opposed to them. I actually love tattoos. I'm very fascinated by them. So yeah, kids are dumb. We've all been dumb once in our life. We all did dumb stuff. You can't punish somebody for it. But if you're a young person watching this video, definitely be cautious of a tattoo that you get, because if you want to get a job one day, I know all our parents say it, but it is truth.
That's the thing. Just be aware of the decisions that you make, because they will impact you.
If you want a lewd or inappropriate tattoo, don't put it somewhere that's visible. You can get it. Put it on your butt. Nobody's gonna see that.
If you
want it that badly, put it somewhere that nobody's gonna see.
Hey, why you get what you get, I can care less. That's on you. That's
but I do love we're seeing a little progress, because I was very shocked to see in the policies that there wasn't a specific rule about covering your tattoos. I was really impressed by that. So things are progressing, but if they're not in your job, I challenge you all, pull your policy just to see what it's, because that's what I did. I was curious. We had the conversation. I was like, you know what? I'm going to work and I'm pull my policy. I want to see what it says. Pull your policy just to see what it says.
Yeah, see what it says before you go on guns a-blazing, because that's a big thing.
That's why I say you got to be prepared. I always post, if I'm about to pick a bone with you, I'm gonna pull the policy first. I'm not dumb. You got to be smart about it, guys. Pull the policy first. But I just,
just pick and choose your battles. If you're, very well, you have no intention of pulling your hair, do not go in arguing.
Yeah, I'm not encouraging anybody to go in their HR. If you feel strongly about it, sure. Do everything with respect. That's how I feel. I'll go say, sir, respectfully, why is this in here? But I'm not at all trying to promote people throwing a riot in HR. I just out of curiosity, I feel like you should put your policy and see what it says. Because like I said, most managers don't care. That's why they haven't addressed it. But you just never know what's in there until you look at it. Mm-hmm. And because you might find something that's real stupid, like women can't show their ankles. It's in there. It's on paper. It's in black and white. Now, if I was in administration, I would definitely address that. I definitely would, because I have more reasons as to why we should than they would have as to why you shouldn't. And so something like this is minuscule, but I feel like that needs to go. So I would address that if I would, if that was my job, I would. So I definitely, I challenge you all to pull your policies just to see what they say. Because you might be restricting yourself unknowingly, because like I said, there are managers who will make you believe that there are certain things that are wrong. It's wrong to them, but per company policy, it's allowed. So it's just, you just never know what you're allowed to do until you read it. Mm-hmm. So just take a gander, pull them. It's public information. If you work for a company, you should be able to, even if you can't pull it, you should be able to request a copy. That's absolutely within your right as an employee. So you should do it. See what it says.
For sure. I said you should be giving them.
Yeah,
right off the bat.
I'm not gonna lie. Who has that little book? I don't know what mine is, but all of our policies are. I remember like the first job I had. I think we got a packet. I don't know. But all of our policies are online. Especially if you work in healthcare, chances are your policies are online. Other companies, I have no clue, but you can at least go to your HR representative and request a copy just to see what it says. And if there's something you don't like, you shouldn't be afraid to challenge it. respectfully, of course.
See where it goes, people.
Yeah, y'all be careful out there.
Mm-hmm.
I just want you to be able to express yourself a little bit. I don't see what's wrong with that. As long as you're a good employee, you're good at what you do, you study to show yourself approved and all that good stuff.
You should say that part again. So you should say that part again, because that's important.
If you're a good employee, you're respectful, you have studied to show yourself approved, you are doing your job, you are good at your job. If you want to add a little razzle dazzle, you know what I'm saying? Your two piercings, your two earrings, your conservative nail colors.
Yeah.
Go for it. I just wonder, it's just funny, like the wording is so funny to me. Because they just like sweat and like, oh God, what word? But it's gonna come up. What's conservative mean? It's a very subjective word. I know what they mean, but
no, they express it. You do what you gotta do if you have to.
But that means something different to every person. It really does. So
for me, I could care less because I'm not doing my nails.
I'm real, like I said, I'm wild, but I'm regimented with certain things, and I'm a creature of habit. So my nail polish is usually the same few colors in rotation anyway. I don't venture too far out with that, but there are people who love their colors, and that's cool too. So I'm curious to know what that means. Where do they draw the line at conservative colors? Because you really could make a case for any color. Especially if you're like into, spirituality and healing through colors. Colors have a meaning, every color. So if you're a person like that, you could make an argument for any color. This means this is energizing. This is calming. That's valid. And there is research behind color theory and stuff like that. So, like I said, if you have time, you can make a case for anything. But that's not the point. Just pull your policy, see what it says. And if you find something in there that's ridiculous, question it. If you don't like it, if it goes against something that you believe or goes against your expression within reason, bring it up. Write an email. I love writing an email. So do it. Live your best life. Okay? Like, comment, share, subscribe. We love you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching again. Come back next time.
Bye, guys.